Chapter 7. Purity of Body, Purity of Heart. As High Priest Simon approached, the young priest bowed his head in greeting. "Good day, High Priest." Zechariah also offered a polite greeting. "Welcome, High Priest. I've come out because the next temple service is for the division of Abijah. You're still looking quite well." The high priest smiled warmly, looking Zechariah up and down. "I'm much older now. I've decided not to believe you when you say you're old. I feel as though I've been hearing that for over 5 years now. I wager you'll still be serving long after I'm gone." The high priest's eyes held a warm smile as he looked at his old friend. Zechariah, seeing him, relaxed his previously stiff expression. "Any news yet?" But with those words, Zechariah's face hardened again. With a bitter look, he shook his head. "You really ought to have listened to me before. Your stubbornness has led to this." Zechariah's expression grew even more rigid. The young priest, not understanding what was happening, was at a loss as to how to respond to the atmosphere between High Priest Simon and Zechariah. "What difference does it make now? I'll live like this. By the way, how is the Queen?" "Our Queen is well, as always." "That's a relief. I've been worried because the mood in the palace seems tense these days. Our Queen and Prince Philip have King Herod's favor, so there's nothing to worry about for now and the future." "Good, then I'm reassured. I'll continue to pray for the Queen and the Prince." "Thank you. But honestly, are you really set on not changing your mind? I just want to help. I'm content with things as they are." "Content? Who knows your heart better than I?" Zechariah remembered when he first met High Priest Simon years ago. Simon was the son of Boethus, a well-known priest from Alexandria. He had moved to Jerusalem with his family, and as soon as they arrived, rumors spread about his daughter, said to be one of the most beautiful women of the time. Herod heard the rumors, fell in love and wanted to marry her, but Simon's family was in an awkward position, too lowly for a royal marriage but not insignificant enough to ignore. Herod solved this by appointing Simon as high priest, making him a nobleman. Suddenly Simon became high priest, and his daughter Mariam too became queen. Having lived his whole life in Alexandria, Simon was unfamiliar with Jerusalem. Zechariah, respected by everyone, took on the role of guiding Simon around the city and temple. Since their houses were nearby, and they were of similar age, they quickly became friends, and that friendship continued. The person who knew the high priest best was Zechariah, and the one who understood Zechariah's heart best was Simon. The high priest genuinely felt sorry for Zechariah's struggles with childlessness, and so he had been encouraging Zechariah to remarry for a long time. "Don't you know how much I care about you? It's still not too late. You could still give her a certificate of divorce." "High Priest." Zechariah's voice was tense with anger. "I'm truly content as I am. I have no intention of marrying anyone but Elizabeth. And honestly, it's a bit late for me now. I'll head in." Without waiting for a reply, Zechariah bowed his head and entered the court of Israel. "That stubborn friend just doesn't realize I'm only trying to help," Simon muttered, frustration in his voice as he watched Zechariah walk away. He spoke almost to himself, but the young priest beside him could hear. "Zechariah is great in every way except for that stubbornness. I gave him advice, but see how he's grown old without changing his mind. Now he has no hope left." "Ah, yes. I admit Elizabeth is a good woman. It's impressive that she still serves others even now. But what good is that? A woman's greatest value is bearing children. Look at me. Did I ever think I'd become high priest? Just by having one daughter who turned out well, I became the king's father-in-law and a high priest. Children really are our hope in life. If only Zechariah had listened to me and married someone else, he might have had hope too. Instead, he ended up like this because of his stubbornness." "You're not married yet, are you?" "Yes, that's right. Since your family background isn't great, choose your wife wisely. If you meet a good woman, it could change your life." Hearing this, the young priest thought of one woman, the daughter of Annas, a prominent priest. If there's a good woman from a respectable family, don't miss the chance. Wouldn't it be nice to make something of yourself in this world? The high priest continued chatting with the young priest about various topics, things he wouldn't normally say, but it all reflected his concern for Zechariah. Well then, take care, Caiaphas. Yes, farewell, high priest. As he watched High Priest Simon leave, a spark of ambition lit in Caiaphas's eyes. Zechariah was assigned a room and turned in early. Though he tried to sleep in preparation for the temple service the next day, an uneasy feeling kept him tossing and turning all night. At dawn he felt the touch of the priest on duty waking him and got out of bed. He made his way down to the mikveh in the basement, his body still weary, and began the purification ritual by immersing himself. With his whole body submerged, he opened his eyes and gazed at the water's rippling surface. Like the waves, his heart felt just as unsettled. Was it because he expected his wife would once again hear people's hurtful words? Or was it High Priest Simon's comments? He couldn't say for certain, but all sorts of thoughts surfaced in his mind, even during the purification ritual. Perhaps Simon's advice, to divorce Elizabeth and marry another woman, was the answer. No, absolutely not. Even if he could go back in time, with the heart he had now, he would still choose to live with his wife, Elizabeth. Children were important, but none could compare to Elizabeth. He could never abandon his wife. How could he possibly forsake Elizabeth, his beloved wife, the woman he loved so dearly? This thought gave Zechariah some peace. But a sudden wave of disappointment with God shook his heart again. Lord, how long will you turn a deaf ear to my prayers? I've dedicated my whole life to you. Elizabeth, too, has lived her whole life in obedience to your word. People call us righteous, and it's true. We've kept all your commandments and regulations without fault. What more can we do? Yet all you've given us are painful words and suggestions to leave my wife for another woman. If you decided not to give us a child, why not just let us live as we are? Why make us endure this suffering? We loved you with all our hearts, just as you commanded, but it seems as though you're against us. Lord, do you truly love us? Just as the prophet Jeremiah once lamented, no matter how much we try to rely on you, it seems as if you are punishing us instead. It's as if you're shooting arrows into my heart. Despite my tearful prayers pleading for life and answers, you remain silent. You've taken away my peace, and happiness has left my heart. Now all I can do is sigh. The bright days of youth have vanished, leaving me with only an aged body. Even my last hope in you is fading away. Lord, what have we done to deserve such treatment? Zechariah opened his heart before God. But once his heart became heavy, there was no comfort in sight. The disappointment built up over many years came crashing down like an avalanche, overwhelming his spirit. With resentment still in his heart, Zechariah got out of the mikveh, dressed himself in his purified garments, and trudged towards the court of priests.